Welcome to Shift Happens, From Pain to Purpose, the podcast where we explore the power of sharing your story. Each week, you'll learn from entrepreneurs and everyday heroes to uncover how their stories of struggle become stories of strength. I'm your host, Alexis, creative director, life coach, and lover of a great comeback story. Together, we're going to explore the healing power of storytelling and inspire you to find your voice, own your journey, and shift your pain into purpose. Let's dive in because your story just might change someone else's. Welcome to another episode of Shift Happens, and today we are bringing you a micro shift in the form of Q&A from my listeners. I'm so excited to dive in. The focus of this content today is primarily business focused. So let's dive into the first question. Okay, question number one is, what sets your agency apart from others in the industry? And I think something that the Shift Creative really does well is we have cut out the middleman. So you no longer, as a business owner, have to tag someone in that's a photographer, tag another person in that's a videographer, tag another person in that can build your set, tag another person in that does your logo. We are your one-stop shop for all your brand needs, and that is what makes us very unique. We've had over 10 years of experience in fabrication and design, and recently, over the past year, we incorporated logo, ideation, development, as well as the video and photo production end of things. So it's a very seamless process, and it allows for a less headache for our clients. And we've gotten really good feedback on that so far. So that's been a really great pivot for us. Number two, how do you maintain creativity and fresh ideas while also meeting client demands and expectations? This question can be a little tricky because so many times clients think that they know what they want, right? In the creative world, they'll say, I really love purple and I just want a logo that has purple. And you're like, okay, but can we add tones of purple? Are we adding in white? Are we adding in black? Can we do a color gradient? And as me and my team, we want to be creative and we want to create something that's different than what everyone else has, right? So the rub there can be not just, we want to listen to the client, but we don't want to be so rigid with the request that it doesn't allow for creative freedom. So what I like to do is I like to say, okay, great. Here is what this could look like just based off of what you're saying. But here's this other option that incorporates the same look and feel, but we've tweaked it rather. And we are showing you these other examples that might have different complementary colors or a different font treatment. So that way they're still getting an innovative design, but it's in line with their overall vision. Something else that happens a lot with our clients is that they will again say, I want bold and edgy, but then we show them bold and edgy and they actually didn't want bold and edgy. They just wanted something that was like sophisticated, but maybe the font type was bold, or maybe just the color they used was bold. So it's very important to show our clients mood boards from the beginning that really hone in on two different directions so that they can get a visual representation of the direction that we could be going for them. And so that really helps also, again, just drive the vision home for them. Number three, what kind of companies or industries do you enjoy working with most and why? I love working with skincare companies. I love working with beauty and home. And I think it's so fun to experiment with product play, with how we can position their product, with the different backdrops that we can incorporate, as well as like bringing in models and bringing in different props. There's a lot of elements that we can bring onto set that make the products come alive. And that's always really enjoyable. I love being on set. I love interacting with the, owner or founder of the company. I love interacting with their team. And my team really loves making the vision come to life in the execution. And so those companies in general, but I mean, we love working with anything that allows us to have creative freedom is always a blast. We love our clients that say, we trust you. Here's our overall vision, but we trust you. That's always fun. Number 4, what should businesses know before launching a rebrand? So with our rebrand packages, we have 3 different offers, and something that we have renamed, or that we've kind of, in the process of seeing what our ideal clients want, is just a package just for aesthetics, just logo, color palette, and type, font, all that stuff. So we always say that when you invest in your brand, you are investing in yourself, you're betting on yourself. And so it's just investing in it's betting on yourself, if you will. And so it is showing to yourself that you are making this investment, you're going all in, and there's no turning back. And we are going to make it the best that we can for you, so that it shows on the sales end of things. And so I think that that's something that some business owners, especially those that are just starting out, they might be scared to invest money into their business. But I honestly feel like that's like the biggest motivating factor, is going all in and then seeing what happens from there. Number 5, how do you build and maintain relationships with clients? I think that it is showing our capabilities time and time again. I think it's asking for feedback. Something that we always love to do with our clients is ask for feedback after every project. So we ask questions like, in what areas do you feel we could have done better? In what areas did we excel? What did you want to see more of? What did you want to see less of? Like, what attracted you to our company? And so that way we can always refine. So let's just say we made a mistake and there was some spot that we missed the mark on. Then we are able to convey or talk to the client. They're able to convey where we missed the mark. And then it's within our power and control to make it right. So we can take their feedback, we can adjust and pivot. And in doing that, it shows that we are teachable and that we are willing to make things right. And that gains trust from our client. And so again, even if there's a mistake made, that relationship isn't gone. That relationship can be saved in the follow through, in the follow up. And I always like to emphasize that. Number 6, what's your process for working with clients on a campaign from concept to execution? So every client that comes across our portal, we always do a consultation call first, just to hear their vision, understand their business. And from there, we go into market research. We understand who they're trying to target, what market trends are currently, popular. And then we will formulate ideas based off of the client and based off current trends and their ideal audience. So then sometimes it's really specific. Many times it's very specific per client, but we always start with storyboards or mood boards, depending if it's a campaign or if it's branding. And we really hone in on the vision and the storytelling aspect. So for example, we did a brand campaign for Glossy, which is a skincare company that you can drink, right? You put essentially like a hydration stick in your water, and it helps with skin, it helps with gut. And we sat and we conceptualized each scene of our video that we were putting together for Glossy. So things like Model 1, this is who she is. We had to completely define her character. We had to completely define who she was, what she liked, what her interests were, and create this character for this particular video. And then we had to go scene by scene and say, okay, this model is doing this in this scene. This model is doing this in this. We actually have to go down to the nitty gritty and really expand on every shot to make sure that we are hitting the mark. We're hitting our ideal audience for our client. So it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of reworking. And on set, sometimes, you have one idea and one vision, and sometimes you have to pivot. And so that is the beauty of working with creatives. We all get to join together and make a masterpiece. And then after we shoot everything, it goes into post-production. If it's graphics, we're doing custom overlays. We are creating reels. We're creating marketing assets. And it takes months to not only conceptualize, but to execute a successful brand campaign. But those are very, very fun. Okay, number 7. How do I develop a brand's visual identity and storytelling in a way that connects with audiences? I think the most important thing to connect to your audience is to appeal to emotion. So many times we just want to get the product in front of someone's face. Obviously, we need to be doing that, right? But people buy based off of feeling. And so we need to understand the brand well enough to hit the target audience pain point. And we need to evoke that emotion through the visuals. And so we do that in video and also in photo form. Number 8, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice before starting your business, what would it be? I think a lot of people's answer is I wouldn't go back and I wouldn't say anything to my younger self because it's all part of the learning process, which is true. But I do think that as a creative in the business world, it's easy to let systems be the secondary thought when I think that they should go hand in hand with the creative mindset. So I would say implementing systems, learning more about systems sooner is better than later. And if you don't have the time to learn, I would hire someone even before you think you need them, because your business is going to do way better when you have the systems in place. Trust me, I know. All right, going to number 9. What are some of your proudest moments as a creative consultant? I have a few. I think during COVID was one of my proudest moments. Imagine 2020, you were in the event industry. We didn't do anything digitally at this time. We were only an event-based company. So we were only doing set design, expos, photo backdrops, activations, right, for brands. And we were booked out for the year. It was forecasted to be our biggest year yet. And we had to completely shut down everything. So from being booked out to zero was extremely, extremely hard. We, in that time, I had employees that didn't have a paycheck coming in. And so I had to think differently. And so one of the ways that I did that was thinking through who wants to not just stay open, but who wants to still reach people during this time. And with my Christian background, I immediately thought of churches. And so when we were able to meet outside, my idea was, well, how do we meet outside in a safe manner and in a way that brings light and joy, not just, here's another social distancing sticker telling me to stay 6 feet apart. Oh, here's another sign to say wear a mask, right? So I actually got a meeting with one of the biggest pastors here in Southern California, maybe even in the United States. And I got a meeting with him. I put together a full presentation, PowerPoint, or it was like keynote slide. I had all these pamphlets, and I handed them out to the pastor and to the other people in the room. And I did a whole presentation of how I could help them during COVID, evoke hope. And the way that I did that was through graphics and through stage design, and outdoor stage experience, where it was cheery, it was bright, and it was fun, it was witty. And it actually even got picked up in Christianity Today for, they talked about the wittiness of the social distancing stickers. I said something I can't remember exactly, but it was introverts are loving this, like stay 6 feet apart, or like wear a mask. Like now no one knows if there's something and you're stuck in your teeth. Or there was like a lot of things. I can't remember them all, but I had like a whole list. And so people would hold signs about wearing your mask, but they weren't sterile. It was like fun and colorful and kind of funny, making light of it, if you will, as best as we could in that time. And that's something that I was really, really proud of. Okay, so number 10, can you share a moment when you realized your business had truly grown or succeeded in a way that was personally fulfilling? You know, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I think the struggle is you feel like nothing is ever good enough. Like you've never arrived, you've never reached the pinnacle of success. I think that's true, but I will say I had a lot of moments in my business where I was at full capacity and I was just turning away so many jobs. I think that was an indicator of like, whoa, like we can't even, we've outgrown. We need to add more people on. That was a time where I was like, okay, wow, we're really doing something here. I think as well as like even just attracting the caliber of people we were with brands, but also with celebrities, really was like, okay, we're doing something. Like we are on the map. People are noticing us. But at the end of the day, you never arrive. You never fully, there's always a goal behind a goal, right? And so I think that sometimes that could be a misconception of business owners and entrepreneurs of like, they've made it, they've arrived, they've done the thing. But really, there's just another goal hidden behind the other goal, and we're never going to arrive ever. So I don't know if that's like encouraging or disheartening, but it's just the truth of it. And I think that that's why it's so important to be content in whatever season you find yourself in. And remember that being content does not mean that you're complacent. It doesn't mean that you don't have big dreams and big goals and that you're not looking to expand. You are doing those things, but you're also content in a season where you can appreciate how far you've come. All right. As a business owner, how do you manage work-life balance and avoid burnout? This is like everyone's like $1 million question, right? How do you avoid burnout as a business owner? I think it's taken me a long time. When I started the Shift Creative, my daughter was 6 months when I had the idea. And then, I would take my daughter to installations and late nights and my son, and we would be up until 2 a.m. sometimes at the warehouse or on site at an installation. And we really had that hustle mentality. And that was hard. And I'm not saying that, I'm not recommending that. I do think sometimes there's sacrifice involved in the pursuit of success. And sometimes those sacrifices lead to burnout. I think that if you do not incorporate time to rest, burnout will always happen. So I like to schedule wins too. So let's just say, for example, starting the podcast, that's a win. I celebrated the podcast launch because it's a win. And I think even if we celebrate big and small wins, that helps us manage burnout. And I think it also helps with the balance where you're in that celebration mode and not just hustle mode. I think as well as planning like small vacations or small little things like getting a massage or going out to dinner, planning that staycation. It does not have to be a big vacation to manage, burnout. It can just be those small things, cooking dinner at home with your family, having a movie night. But I think that as business owners, if it's not on the calendar, we won't do it. So I even like to have it in my calendar, massage, pre-plan it, right? Movie night. Allow room in your schedule to be spontaneous. Even a lunch date midday. If you're working for yourself, you have that freedom to schedule that. As a female entrepreneur, have you encountered any challenges specific to your gender in this industry? Not much. There's been probably 2 times that I can think of that I have felt maybe discriminated against because of my gender and or age. Because again, I started this when I was 23, so almost 24. So I was young. Then I started working with big names, and sometimes people can look at you like you don't have enough experience. And maybe I didn't have enough experience, but it is the treatment there. And that, I think it was challenging. One time I got turned down for doing a stage design. And to be fair, yes, like I hadn't done many stage designs before that, but it was the way that this man was talking to me that was clear, like he was talking down for sure. But it actually just fueled me to do better and to be better and to learn more. Maybe he was right. I didn't know enough. And so I think if we just take things not so personally, I'm not one to be like, it's because I'm a woman. It's like, okay. Like, all right. Like how much more can we learn and do and be better? And that's how I take it. It's like, all right, maybe you're right in some things and maybe you're wrong. And I'll get another chance to prove myself. You know, there's no shortage of opportunities. I think that's very important to remember. There's no shortage of opportunities. So I don't really like to say it because I'm a woman. I felt it here and there, but I just like to use that for my own self to be better. So to wrap up, I love these questions. I love doing these because it just allows an insight into the nitty gritty. And when we look at these reels on Instagram and we listen to podcasts, sometimes it can seem so glamorous, but I mentioned late nights working with my kids. I'm missing out on, you know, maybe tugging them in at night, or, you know, I'm not home cooking the home cooked meals. We're going through McDonald's. There's things like that I don't think people see. They don't understand the sacrifice that's made. And also, we don't just wake up one day and have brands in your inbox. You are actively pursuing those people, and you're constantly presenting and executing work at a certain quality and caliber that attracts your ideal client. So I never want people listening to think, oh, like this was just easy or she's so lucky. It takes a lot of work. And even then, like I mentioned, there's always a goal behind the goal. So don't give up, keep after it, keep staying consistent, and know that the one thing that you can control is not people's response to you, it's your output. Thanks so much. And I am so excited for you to listen to this episode. And as always, rate and review if you enjoyed it. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to Shift Happens. You are the reason I started this podcast. I hope it finds the ears and hearts of those who need it so that you know your voice matters and you are reminded that someone needs to hear your story. As always, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And I'll see you next week.